Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. This is Erin, and today we're going to be working on a prop, specifically a prop of a lantern on a stick that Albert, who you guys can see in the bottom right, is going to be carrying. We don't get to rotate this model, but this is the model we currently have. It's something that we made a basic version of this earlier, and you guys had actually seen an earlier version of this, or like the very basic version, which I need to find the picture really quickly because I forgot to have it prepped. Give me a second. Let's see if this just comes up all nice and clean. Oh, it's coming up in Photoshop, so just a second. But how are you guys doing? It's a good day. I see that Bob Jones has a normal work day so far. That's always good. So you can see, like, I already have like a plan of what it's going to be, but so in the game right now you have this model right here, which is literally just a chain attached to a stick that's actually stuck in the back of one of our temporary mice, stuck in her back, so that way we have its light because we wanted to see what it looked like with the light, and we really liked it, but it just wasn't like, it's not like the final version, so we're taking this lamp and making it into our final version, this concept, and making it so that it's instead Albert holding it. It's not a fancy coat stream, sadly, unless you just want to be able to see Albert, which he definitely is our dapper mouse. And I guess then one of the other things I got was I actually got some feedback about this initial concept with the stick and stuff, and it was just like, okay, so the idea is that this lantern needs to be about twice the size, so it gives like a lot of light around the area, and it always is like tall and like high in space, and isn't just like right in front of the face, but instead lights the space around them. And then it also needs to be collapsible, which I might not have spelled collapsible correctly. I'm looking at that, it just looks wrong to me. Maybe I'm right. Maybe it's not right. I don't know. But it needs to be collapsible for animation purposes. For example, whenever Albert ends up climbing up, I'm going to pause a second. So the staff stick piece that Albert will be carrying needs to be collapsible for whenever he ends up climbing up things or doing animations that require both hands. And so I have an idea of how that's going to work, I just don't have it drawn out for you guys to see, easily see. And then I also need to make sure that this stick is actually twice as high compared to what it shows in this concept here, where it's like, oh hey, it's just like this. And then the other idea is that, oh hey, maybe he only needs his hand for one thing, and so he needs to be able to have it just be on one hand. It's one-handed. So it's basically a super variable, or super, yeah, variable is kind of like variable prop. I have an idea of how this is going to work. I just need to make it. So with that out of the way, I'm going to go back to 3D Code, where we're going to be sculpting in some of the details that you see. You can see this up here. I think it's about right here that you see my mouse. But on the concept that's stuck up there, you can see that there's a little bit of detail in there, and I'm going to kind of like guess on some of these details on this piece because I don't have the concept up right now. But at the same time, I remember what it was, and it's still fun. We're gonna have some fun. Also gonna show you guys. I don't think I've done this with you guys. Well, I don't think I've done this with you guys before, where I've sculpted a prop for you guys. And and you guys have seen this before when I'm modeling a mouse, is that you can use symmetry in symmetry on like in a mirroring way. But one of the fun things is that you can do radial symmetry too, so you can do some fun things just like, so you can start to get some very easy pattern that you don't have to do as much work for. It's always nice. And one of the things I do have to remember to ignore for now is the piece up at the top. It comes to like a really thin point that's going to get thickened up later on. It just, because of how I imported this image, when I was getting more details on it, it just ended up kind of shrinking there. But we'll get to that. So for now, I'm going to go ahead, kind of look at what I've got here. And I want to kind of bring this piece out here. One of the things I don't usually use, I usually use 3D Coat for sculpting the details in piece. This will be going into its textures, the texture space, not actually the model piece, because we already have the model figured out. Like, we know that. Oops. Give me a second so I can zoom out. It's not cooperating with me. Like, we already have this actually modeled. We have the piece there. It just makes it a lot simpler. But because of this, we want to make sure there's still some fun details in there. And that's what I'm doing today. And I forgot that because I turned off symmetry, I need to turn it back on. I'm just working on the shape and pattern. One of the things I don't get to do for this is because of the sculpting stage, then it's all one model. I don't get to make this a different texture, so I don't get to make it look like there's glass. That's actually something that we get to play with today, and how we actually make up the, like, having the chain is always interesting. It's a little more fun, in my opinion, than rope, but how we make this actually then influences how the animation goes. And I believe because of how we want to make this animation, and like we're wanting to use a physics-based piece, that way that we're never actually hand animating the lantern. We're actually going to use in-game gravity for it, kind of like how it is right now. But to do that, we need to make sure that whatever is attaching this piece to the rest of the stick actually works out. And I think, based off what I just said, I know it's confusing. I kind of am confused by it too, in all honesty. But Gavin basically told me that chain works out better than rope, and I can't tell you why because I can't remember off the top of my head. I wish I could tell you differently. But basically it comes down to animation pieces there. Oh, I'm on scrape, that's why that's being weird. Trying to pull this in. Like a crook? What do you mean by that, Nova? Oh, with a hook. Okay, so now we can see that there's a little bit of detail in there. That's always nice. I'm going to go ahead and actually switch up my symmetry so it's more at third. So that. Now we're going to have like this off base piece right here. Already is starting to look just a little nicer. I'm not going to be worried about this area because that's supposed to be class. In a way, like if Rafiki is the equivalent of the guiding kind of spirit, like a little bit more, not necessarily a moral compass, just like he's the guide, he's the old mentor person. And that's kind of what Albert is, except for not quite as... He's not quite as... out there? Don't know exactly what... It's a little more, I guess, in a traditional... Okay, make my symmetry back to 6. Part because it makes it a lot easier to make sure this is all, like, matching. I have to be careful here. I'm actually going to start working on this side because I want to make sure that I'm not, like, getting in the way of the center space. I'm going to save. And there, now I won't be, I kind of like just giving myself some space to make sure I don't accidentally like cut into this space right here. Especially because I already have like the old model, although it looks a little bit wacky right now because of the symmetry. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is correct. Do something like this. I don't like how far in I brought this just now. So I'm actually going to just extend it all out a little bit. I'm going to try this again. There we go. A little bit closer. What I want, I'm going to smooth it just all out so it doesn't look too tattered. It's odd what YouTube does sometimes. Alright, so for the top part, I'm actually going to go ahead and make this back, bring it back to 3. Kind of like the idea of it having so got this much space to work with. Also, if you guys hear any coughing or sneezing, it's we're actually going to head over. Us in the office have kind of been on the sick side lately, and so we're just and still recovering in some cases, or mostly recovered, just have leftover effects. So sometimes it might get loud. I myself have been very prone to sneezing lately. What did I just do here? But I want to make sure I do here. There we go. Kind of. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't answer your question over about what program it was. Now this is 3D Coat. It's not. It's about a mid-range sculpting program, but it's not as expensive as something like Maya or ZBrush. But it's not free. Alright, so I'm going to keep this for now. This is what we got for... This will be a good start for what we got. I'm going to actually change my symmetry type to XYZ mode and go to X. I think that's what I need. Yeah, that's why I need to be able to get this piece up here a little bit more filled out. We had one model 3D printed a while back, but it wasn't for Redwall. It was actually one of the games that we've made in the past is called G Prime, and there's a ship that you're based out of, and that's what called the Ptolemy. And we have the Ptolemy 3D printed. It's small. It's kind of a little warped because of we didn't know that there's something about it that got a little bit off, but or at least one of the beams on it got a little warped. But it's a cool little steampunk ship. Alright. It's fun how fast this can go, especially when you have symmetry on. I'm going to leave it at that for there. I'm going to take off the symmetry mode because this is already unwrapped for us. Because it was already made in a different, made before, we already have a version of it. Now that we have this, I'm going to go ahead and it's going to look weird when I bring it over at first, but this is what you get to work with because the center space is not going to be glass or like a nice looking thing right now. That'll be brought in later. But I'm going to go ahead. Let's save this before I do anything. What I'm doing is called baking. It's when we take that. What's on it? We take the information that's showing right here. Let's see. Goodness, I can structure something. I think a little bit wrong. No. Oh, odd. If I get rid of this, you can see that this is actually not connected at all, and that's just weird now. Let's see if this can work. Just not on Steam. G Prime is the only one that made it to Steam. So for some reason, this went way down low. Well, this is going to probably need to stay center. We're probably going to have to move it just to get some of these pieces up. Move that little rim. I get why that part is a little bit weird. Yeah, it's not going to be an exact thing, but that's a little bit better than what we had before. I think I probably need to cut. Okay, let's try this again on the baking side. Yeah, it's a completely different genre. Wind Up Robots is another one of this. A little bit odd there. Let's try 3. Why is that porn part not moving correctly? Huh. I'm going to leave this as it is. I'll come back to this at a later point. Instead of trying to bug fix what's going on in 3D Cope, I might need to come back in here and redo this a little bit. Instead, I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do on the other side, which is I already have Albert in here, and you're going to see just how big this lantern is. So I'm going to import this the original FBX that I just had up, And as you can see, Albert's that little yellow dot. This is the lantern, so we need to scale him down. I don't know if we have, and I don't think we have Bob Jones. Oops. So I'm going to keep it at about that size. And from here, I'm actually going to go back, instead of having the texture mode where you can see all the colors, I'm just going to go to the solid mode. So we can see this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing in what I want to do for the see, I want to bring in a circle. That's maybe about big. Tab. We're gonna go in here, and when we look at this specific one, it has a lot of vertices that are totally unneeded. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to every other edge. And then I'm going to collapse them, and that's going to, and then I'm probably going to have to do this once again. So now we have, that's that space, and this is already How will he carry the lantern then, Nashog? You said you wanted to go by a different name. I can't remember who it is. I know it's in Discord. But if I pull up Discord, then it shows everything. Okay. That's looking better. And for now, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an 8-sided. I think we can deal. Let's work with this size. Also, I'm gonna attach this and flip my normals because it's basically inside out. All right. So we want to make sure, first and foremost, that something that his hand could wrap around roughly. Roughly, about there, yeah, that works. And so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to extrude it again. We want to make sure it's tall. That's one of the requirements. It says about twice as height. I don't think it's going to be twice as height because he's going to be wasting this thing. But instead we can maybe make it about that tall. That works. Next what I'm going to do is make sure I'm selecting all of these. I'm going to extrude these out. That's not working out the way I was hoping it would. So instead I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to add another ring right about there. Do that and then just size it. actually going to size it like this. And what's going to happen is that basically if it's ever collapsible, it just needs to go like that. And voila, kind of, it's like partially collapsible. So now it's like, it's actually like a distinctly like here's a piece there, and when now I get to do the fun part of making so start over the circle so I didn't have any like base pieces. I think it was actually this one. I'm going to pull this thing right up about there, and I'm also going to give it another one right here. Oh, what did I just do? I did not mean to do that. What did I just do? Did I just give it pieces? No, they're just not lining up correctly, right with each other, so it looks weird. Right now I'm working in Blender, by the way. I moved from 3D Cut over to this. So I can make the staff because it's going to be a lot easier this way. I haven't heard about that for some reason. Actually, I'm probably not the person to ask about that because while I use Blender, I haven't actually gone into a lot of like, I'm not the proficient one at using Blender. And I would say that it's probably more likely to ask either our technical artist Gavin or Emily about that question, about what we think about the upcoming 2.8 Blender. I haven't worked in that, or I wouldn't know what that part specifically is. I usually work more in Photoshop. Okay, so we have this piece now. Got that. This is basically ready. All we need now are little chain links. So I'm gonna make... Actually, there we go. They already have a nice little torus for me. can even make smaller. About a lot. But before I actually do that, I'm going to go ahead and go in here. Let's start by going ahead, getting rid of every other. Just cleaning up how many verts there are on this. I'm going to do it actually again. Hey, you know what? One more time. I'm not doing the whole thing because I actually really like the idea of maybe doing pulling this, just pulling them in closer so it's a bit more like a chain link. Other thing I gotta do now is let's get rid of these ones. They are also, because this is gonna be small. It's not gonna be nearly this big. Don't need to be this big. And I've just completely edged that like this. That's starting to look better. You know what? But I don't need that right there. This and size it in. There, now we have the beginnings of a chain link. Actually, I think if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, I might get corrected on this later, I might have to tell you guys that I said incorrectly. That for this specific piece, or like for the chain link's sake, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work with this big because it's a little bit easier this way. I'm going to make this about 5 chain links long. I'm going to duplicate it, but basically as long as the program knows how long it is and knows that these pieces are supposed to be touching each other, I think then maybe the physics part isn't nearly as hard, but I'm also not the one who's going to be programming it, so I don't have to work, and so I'm not actually too, like, not as knowledgeable on that. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to rotate it on the x-axis. I'm going to do 3, first that. And voila, we have a chain link. And now, if I select all of it, and I duplicate this, going on the x-axis, I can just do this. And hey, guess what? We're making a chain link. During the times, the stone carving of the fire lizard. Oh, sorry, I should say this with my epic voice. A stone carving of a fire lizard head was located inside the mountain during the times of Boar the Fighter. Boar sometimes lifted this carving to a window opening and lit a fire inside to simulate a dragon spewing fire from its mouth. Is that epic enough for you guys? I don't exactly have baritone voices. I don't know why, but deep voices always sound more epic. Maybe that's because that's what's always used for the epic. It's always used for like epic trailers. Alright. Keeping on this chain link, doing this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate this whole thing, bring it over here, and I'm going to, just so like I still have the original piece. And I'm going to go ahead, bring it up here, go from the top so I know Bring it about here. Here. I'm just going to size the whole thing down. So if you imagine that this is just is attached right here, then we bring this, we attach it here. Hey, look, we got a staff that once it's in game, it probably will be able to move and stuff. And we'll have to simulate some of the stuff. We did this kind of exercise where I made the mace with the, I made Scum's out some mace right next to his body, so that way it was like, hey, here, we know how big it is compared to him, or like we need to make sure it looked like a one-handed mace versus a two-handed mace, because like just how big it was compared to him, there was this interesting aspect of, yes, he's supposed to be one of the strongest creatures in the scene, and he's supposed to look like a little bit epic, but the mace is more like the over-the-top piece to him, not just him. So it's like, how do we make sure that the mace is like the over-the-top feel? So we got this now. This is looking good. We have our little mini chain link over there. And I think that's basically, like, I would try texturing this, but I want to make sure that I actually like get. I'm trying to think. I want to make sure that this is done, or like the mesh part of this actually translates well, and it goes into this, what we did over here. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to save this. Save as. Lantern size reference. Saving the Blender file so we don't lose that progress, because yeah, making a chain link. Actually, the chain link part went faster than I thought it would. Blender is good for modeling, and you can do texturing in here, but I'm not worried about texturing in this. And yeah, actually, I'm looking at this right now and realizing that this plus this plus this plus that. I'll need to move over just like that, so now it looks like it's actually attached to it. And really, if I was to really get this right, I would probably go like this, this, this. Rotate. Rotate it like that. Oh yeah, it's satisfying having something like, hey, this is done, this is finished, I'm really happy with this. Like, it's really nice to have that process. I have so many sketches of items, of characters, of things that I just like started on a whim that are nowhere near done. Or stuff like I start, and actually because I was like, you know what, I don't know what to save this as, I'm not sure if this will ever make it farther than the sketch phase. I actually just end up deleting the Photoshop file because it's still untitled. I never did a save for it. It's like, I don't actually care about this in the same way like this needs to go into finished product or anything like that. So I have a lot of those moments. So getting from start to finish and finishing out a project is always satisfying.
Why are you talking about dragons?
So we're talking about dragons because they were talking about how they wanted, I think, actually, it's because I think they wanted this staff to have a lizard head on it that breathed fire. I think that's what happened there. They're also
like
talking.
Give them a full-on like wizard staff.
Yeah, and they're talking about
wizard.
A lizard wizard, and they talked about how in, how it is which one. Which
you know what's funny is we actually get this comment from several people who are like, "There's no mythological things in Red Bull. Like they don't have fairy rings, they don't have dragons, they don't have." Conversations about the mouse with the wings, but it's not true. Yeah, it's right from the wiki. They have this stuff all over the place. But it's like if you don't if it doesn't catch your eye, I can see like it would. They don't feature largely, like they kind of just pass by. But they clearly have mythology, including dragons.
I don't know if you guys can hear Chris. Probably can because our mic is crazy and picks up everything.
Mic.
But yeah, actually, I think this is where I'm going to stop it for today, mostly because I need to make sure that I'm... Oh, it's found in Mossflower chapter 29. There we go. Reference for the dragon.
Oh, yeah. But I think that there's... That kind of thing happens all over the place.
Yeah. But I'm going to stop it here, mostly because I want to make sure I get some feedback from our technical artists that this is created in a way that is still, like, plausible. We also need to have some in-house discussions about, like, yes, this is what we need it to be. This looks right. It fits our criteria. I know I didn't make it twice as height, but I have the collapsible part thought through, and I'm glad about that. So that's where we're at, and I think that's where we're going to end it at, guys. I hope you guys have wonderful days. Thanks for joining. Thanks for talking about dragons, and yeah, have a wonderful day. Peace.